Welcome, Roozbeh, to onrichmondhill.com's Candidate Conversations. Thank you
Hi,
very
Marge.
much. Hi
It's
there.
great to be here with you.
It is. Thank you. It's good to see you. So thank you very much for making the time to talk with me. I have 4 main questions for you, followed by 7 fun questions that have the purpose of sort of getting to know you. So let's start. Okay, first question. What are your concerns with the climate crisis?
Well, I'm very concerned about it. And unfortunately, looking at what Doug Ford has done as soon as he took office, he threw out every single plan that we had in Ontario to fight climate crisis. And it is not something that we can debate anymore. We're seeing the impact of it, whether it's fires, whether it's the flooding. So as a whole, we are seeing the impacts of climate crisis. It's okay to not agree with the actions that we have to take, but it's certainly not okay to disagree that we have a climate crisis. I am very disappointed in Doug Ford's government to waste so much money and throw out every single plan that we had. And we do need to fight it. It is truly the biggest issue and crisis of our generation and the next generation. I'm out here talking to people, especially our youth, and that's the number one thing that I do hear from them. And they're very concerned with lack of action. And I know with the Ontario Liberals, we have presented a very clear plan to ensure that we support both individuals and small businesses to reduce their footprint, whether it's bringing back the rebate on electric vehicles, ensuring that we plant more trees. And as a whole, we have a clear commitment to cut our carbon footprint by 50% by 2030 compared to the 2005 emissions. And I know it's a bold objective, but it is definitely a doable one. And the Ontario Liberals have the track record of not only presenting a plan, but also executing on it.
Thank you very much, Roozbeh, for that response. Second question. The pandemic exposed some cracks in our healthcare system. What changes would you like to see made to make things better?
Yeah, it certainly did have a huge impact on all of us, especially on the frontline healthcare providers. Unfortunately, right at the beginning of his term, Doug Ford launched an assault on our healthcare system, especially our nurses. Bill 124 capped the salary of nurses, causing a mass exodus. And it's not good enough to just get on camera and say, oh, I respect them, but not take action. And I think there was an extra salt on wound when he came out and said, oh, we're going to give them an extra $5,000. So first thing that the Ontario Liberals will do is we will repeal Bill 124, ensure that we respect and properly compensate our nurses, PSWs. We will also invest $1 billion in our healthcare system so that we can clear the backlog of surgeries that are needed within 2 years. And as a whole, we do need to ensure that we properly invest and take care of our healthcare system. Unlike Doug Ford, that has interest to privatize healthcare, we are interested to ensure that we support our healthcare system, while we support our healthcare providers so that it remains public and it becomes the top of class healthcare system in the world.
Thank you. Third question. What role should online learning have for students in both the public and elementary and high school level?
I was honored last week to be endorsed by OSSTF, Ontario Secondary School Teachers Federation. And one of the main reasons that I actually jumped into the race was seeing what Doug Ford has been doing to our education system. Right at the beginning of his term, he brought a mandatory e-learning, and I don't think it should be mandatory. I think it should be an optional piece, and we've been very clear on that we will stop the mandatory e-learning program. We will make it optional, and I believe our teachers who are teaching e-courses or online courses should be just fixed on that if they're doing that, and the right place for our students to be is in the classrooms, and the teachers who are teaching in-person classrooms should just be focused on in classroom. Unfortunately, under Doug Ford, we've seen that not to be the case. And I know it's difficult. So we have been committed, and we are committed to stop Highway 413 and invest that $10 billion in our education system, hiring 10,000 teachers, 5,000 special education workers, and 1,000 mental health professionals to ensure that our students are properly supported. We know a lot of our students have also had a challenging time over the last two years of pandemic, and we want to make sure that they're ready and when they want to go to university or colleges. So we're bringing an optional, and the key here is an optional grade 13, so that there is a proper curriculum, there is funding behind it for those students who feel they need extra time. Again, the focus is going to be having these in classroom and enabling our students who have fallen a little bit behind and they need that catch-up time. And right now, a lot of them are taking what is called a victory lap to make sure that they have that support. But unfortunately, there is no proper funding, there is no proper curriculum, and under the Ontario Liberal government, we will ensure that that is set up and our students are properly taken care of, and we stop this chaos that Doug Ford has brought to our education system.
Thank you. Fourth, final question. What can the provincial government do to make housing more affordable here in our riding?
Thank you for that question. You know, knocking on doors, that is one of the common issues that I hear about, especially knowing that right before the election, before the April long weekend, Doug Ford passed an MZO, ministerial zoning order, to override City of Richmond Hill and City of Markham. And just to help out a couple of his developer buddies, he wants to build 67 towers right here at Yonge and Highway 7, number of them going up to 80 stories high. I am for development, but I'm against poorly planned development. We know we need housing. That's why the Ontario Liberals are actually committed to building 1.5 million houses over the next 10 years. But we need to do it in a way that Ontario families have proper access to things like schools, hospitals, green spaces, and want to raise families in those homes. So as an example, our proposal is to ensure our density is more spread out so that we will allow triplexes up to 2 stories high. We will also unlock unused land that Ontario government has, and as a good example are the hydro lines where we can properly bury them. We can open up the land over there, and we will focus and ensure that those lands that are set aside and hopefully build upon very quickly, that they get used up through a corporation that will set up to develop low-income housing and housing for first-time home buyers. We're also seeing a lot of approvals that are being granted that are not being built on. So we are putting forth essentially tax or levy on land that has been approved to be built on, but because of speculation, people are just holding on to it. We need to make sure that we have development for the future generation, for the growing economy and growing Ontario, but we need to make sure that it's properly done and properly planned. And I find what Doug Ford is doing to Richmond Hill, where I live, and I live very close to that area, is very insulting, and we need to bring changes to that.
Okay, thank you very much for those thoughtful responses, Roozbeh. Now we'll do these 7 fun facts. We'll do them quickly. We'll do them with a smile. Okay.
Sounds good.
What is your favorite color?
So my favorite colors are red and brown, but our house is filled with turquoise colors because that's my wife's favorite color.
Okay. What is your favorite flavor of ice cream?
To be honest, I actually like sour ice cream. So raspberry and mango, especially when they have a bit of a sour taste to them, are my favorite.
Okay. Have you ever driven a motorcycle?
Yes. When I was younger, I actually had a motorcycle. I had a Suzuki Marauder 250. Later on, I upgraded to a Honda CBR 600. And it's been 10 years since I owned one. But one of the things I don't like about motorcycles is the loud exhaust noises. So the ones that I had were actually nice. One, maybe sometime in the future when I retire, I get a cruiser.
Okay. Okay. Do you ever wear socks that don't match?
No, I don't. But I have to admit, when I was a student in university, I used to get a whole lot of black socks, so I never had to mix and match. But ever since I got married, I found a fondness for funky socks. So I've got a whole lot of interesting socks, and it sometimes become a topic of conversation.
Okay. What's your favorite genre of music?
You know, it depends on my mood. Sometimes I just listen to musical, just purely musical. Sometimes, a fair number of times I listen to Iranian music. But it really depends on my mood. I've listened to all the way from rock to classical. So yeah, it changes, not just
Okay.
one.
Last question. Do you chew gum?
Rarely, but sometimes yes, I do.
Okay. So again, thank you so much, Roozbeh. Enjoyed interacting with you, hearing your responses to your question. I do wish you very well on this campaign. So thank you.
Thank you, Marge, for organizing this. It's always a pleasure speaking with you.